Hi guys, in this video we are going to look at the diagramming classical conditioning assignment. So you're going to go to your learning lesson pages, and when you get in there you'll see that we are on page 1. We're going to again move through the content, especially the classical conditioning part. You want to make sure you look at your resources in the sidebar. Also read the information, watch the videos, do the interactives down here, and just really make sure that you've gone thoroughly through this. And it would also help to read the associated textbook readings. So once you get to the diagramming classical conditioning, I want you to read down at the bottom. It says, I bet you're thinking, wow, UCS, UCR, NS, CS, CR, oh my. So many terms to know. So how do I do this? It's easy. You make it personal. One of the most effective ways to remember material is relating it to ourselves. This is called the self-reference effect. Therefore, creating your own examples or depiction of the classical conditioning is a great technique. So you're downloading the instructions from the sidebar. And here, let's talk about what we're going to do. Now, classical conditioning is something that often gets confused by psychology students. And so this assignment should help you work through these terms. I'm just going to read this and then we'll talk about what you're going to include. Classical conditioning can be difficult to master, but I have discovered a key. The best way to understand the principles of classical conditioning is to develop your own unique example to apply to the terms. For example, my dog Daisy comes running to the kitchen from anywhere in the house when she hears the lunch meat drawer open. At first, the sound of the drawer opening was neutral to her, but now it elicits a response because she thinks she's getting turkey. This is my example, now think of your own. So your instructions, you're going to be creating a comic strip to illustrate your own examples of classical conditioning. First, you should figure out your script, how the concepts of classical conditioning will be incorporated to show learning has taken place, and then you will sketch or create characters using images from the internet. Please do not sign up for an outside website to do this for you. You can cut and paste images, or for this assignment only, you could draw and color them. Your images should be placed into panels. We'll talk about how we can do variations of this, and then you should write a story using your script in the panels. Be sure to tag classical conditioning terms by bold-facing them or underlining them as you go. Create a border around your comic strip and you're done. Okay, so instead of creating a comic strip, here's another option. You could use PowerPoint and you could use a slide for each panel of what would be the comic strip. So for example, if you should have 3 panels, you could have 3 PowerPoint slides representing those panels to make it a little bit easier, where you can really focus on the terms. So in these panels or slides for classical conditioning, you need to label it with the title listed below to demonstrate to me the learning process. So the first title that you will have is before conditioning, the second will be during conditioning, and the third will be after conditioning. And when you create this cartoon, please include the following terms to walk me through the acquisition process. It is your responsibility to figure out which terms go in which box to adequately illustrate the classical conditioning process. Some of the terms will be used more than once. So in each box, before conditioning, during conditioning, or after conditioning, you will look at the terms from number 2 and see where they fit. Unconditioned stimulus, unconditioned response, neutral stimulus, no response, conditioned stimulus, and conditioned response. And you should use all of the terms in your explanation. And so a way to make it really stand out would be to either underline or boldface these terms as you use them. So number 3, our submission. When submitting your comic strip, please be sure to include a short paragraph that accompanies the comic book to explain classical conditioning in your depiction using all of these terms. In addition, correctly incorporate the terms generalization, discrimination, acquisition, and extinction. So if you choose to do this on a PowerPoint, you would add a 4th slide to include your paragraph, and you could type your paragraph in the 4th slide. So again, there would be 2 options. You can create a comic strip as stated in the original assignment instructions, or number 2, You can do PowerPoint for this, where you have 3 slides. The first is before conditioning, the second is during conditioning, and the third is after conditioning. And then the 4th slide, if you choose to do PowerPoint, will be your paragraph. So don't forget that. So this again, come up with some good unique examples. Make sure you're using all the terminology, and let me know if you have additional questions.